Welcome to Real Girl Talk. I am your host, Sherry Ricard. I empower women to stand in their purpose, to succeed despite the odds stacked against them, and to live their life knowing they're enough and worthy. Join me each week for powerful messages and interviews that will inspire you to create the life that you want. Now let's go. Hello there, my friends. It's Sherry Ricard, and I'm so glad to have you back listening to the podcast. And thank you for being here. To all my loyal listeners, thank you for coming back. I appreciate that. And if you're new to the show, welcome, because I have a treat for you today. Today, I have the author of Simply Keto. And I'll tell you what, Suzanne Ryan is out of California, and I found her book by accident. And, I believe nothing is an accident. I should take that back because I think everything is directed by God's steps. But this book has really, really helped me, and I know it's going to help you. So I want her to share a little bit about the book, where it came from. And I'm fascinated because you're telling me that you lost 125 pounds. And yeah. I told you before the show, I wanted to lose 60, and you said, I totally can do it. I'm putting the word keto on my vision board. It's going on my vision board. So talk to us a little about it, and welcome to the show, and tell us a little bit about your weight loss journey, because I know it's going to help a lot of women out there.
Sure. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. So my weight struggle really started when I was in middle school. There was a whole lot of emotional things going on with my family. My parents were divorced. There was a lot of just dysfunctional family. I think a lot of people can totally relate to that. There was a lot of fighting and arguing and back and forth with my brother and I. And I think at a very early age, I started turning to food as a way to cope with different emotions that I was feeling, or if I was just stressed about something, I would eat something. And in that moment, it was like everything else kind of went away. So I think very early on, I started just kind of using that as a coping mechanism. And then each year, actually, I started my first diet when I was in middle school, and it was actually Atkins. So it's kind of funny because I started off in like the low carb realm.
Right.
But then, I was young and didn't really kind of fully understand all the steps that I really needed to have maintainable weight loss. So that only lasted for a couple weeks before then I ended up just back to my normal, high carb, high sugar, a lot of processed food diet. So each year my weight just kept gradually going up and up and up. And eventually I found myself at 315 pounds. And
wow.
Along that way, I had tried so many different things, like literally every year. It's funny, if you look at my Facebook timeline where it kind of tells you things from the past, you always see a post of me saying like, I found this new thing and this is going to be it, or I'm starting juicing today, or I'm going to be a vegetarian this year, or I'm going to be like X, Y, and Z. Like this
Don't we all do that though? I think
totally.
if you have a weight loss, or you need to lose weight and you have a weight issue, we'll grasp for anything to help us lose just even 10 pounds.
Totally. And so, so I did everything from even going at the most extreme thing I ever did was I went to an actual like weight loss physician where he gave me like B12 shots and appetite suppressants. And I would go to the office every week to weigh in. But the problem with that was nothing that I was doing was like maintainable. And I felt sick and dizzy. And I knew that there was probably more to it than just like the food that I was eating, because throughout my life, I had just kind of turned to food. And the other thing was I was always hungry. So I could eat a full meal and then somebody could invite me to lunch afterwards and I would be game. Like it's just like my appetite was like always there. So, eventually I just kind of accepted the fact that maybe this was going to be my life forever. Like maybe this was just, I had tried everything. Nothing seemed to be able to stick. And like, maybe I just needed to accept that this is how it was going to be. And then my daughter was born. And when she turned 1, I was like, oh boy, like I need to like do something, because I really need to be around to have more energy. And I want to be around to see her grow up. A lot of people end up having serious health conditions from being morbidly obese. And I just really didn't want to go down that path. But like, I still just struggled with finding something that actually I could stick to and that like really felt just like something that could really make a big impact in my life. So, one day I was on Facebook, and one of my really good friends, her son was diagnosed with a terminal disease. And I remember that day wishing that I could trade places with him, in the sense that here's this little boy who was 1 year old, who never got the chance to have a normal life and to run and to play, and wasn't even going to make it to see his second birthday. And yet I was fortunate enough to have a healthy body besides what I was doing to it, which really caused me to kind of take the sidelines of my life. Like I wasn't going out. I was depressed. I just didn't feel good about myself. I was in like pain when I got out of bed in the morning. Like I was just kind of like, I'm wasting my life. Like, and here's this precious little boy who isn't going to be able to have a life. And in that moment, I was kind of like, you know what, like I'm done. I am no longer going to take another day of my life for granted. And in his honor, like I'm going to sign up for a 5K, even though I can barely walk around the block at this point. And I'm done. Like all the excuses, all the putting it off next week, next Monday after vacation, like I'm done. Right. And so I had found out about keto, and for those who don't know what keto is, it's a low carb, high fat, moderate protein lifestyle. And I say lifestyle because it is something that once you switch to, it's kind of like a new normal for you. It's not a temporary thing. It's a new way of eating.
Right.
And I actually started it on January 1st and bombed out that same day. And, and I think in that moment, that is when I really truly made the connection that you can truly have the most perfect plan in place, but until your heart and your mind is in it as well, you will not be successful.
That is so true.
So, and the day that I restarted was the day that I found out about my friend's son. And that was on the 13th of January. And in that moment, I had like the perfect combination of something that I felt would be maintainable for me, and then the passion and desire to change my life for the better and to really make a positive change. So I didn't say anything to anyone at first because I felt like I had cried wolf my whole life, but like, this is going to be it, I promise.
Yeah, that's me. I don't even like to tell my son and my husband because they call me the 2-weeker. They said, I'll do anything for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that was totally me. And, so I didn't say anything at first. And then I think it was about 10 weeks in, and I was like, I have to do YouTube. Like, I need to like tell people about this. I feel amazing. I don't think about food all the time anymore. Like I'm losing weight and I feel amazing. So, I really felt like not only did I want to share about keto and like my story and the things that I was going through with struggling with weight my whole life, but like in my own personal life, I didn't really have anybody who really understood what it was like to really struggle with obesity. And I really felt like I needed that. Like I needed that support system. I needed other people who knew what I was going through. I always had girlfriends who were like, I need to lose 10 pounds. And I'm like, don't even say that around me.
We're not friends anymore.
Yeah. So, it was really such a great thing to be able to do that. And then I ended up recording a video every weekend for a year. And 1 year later, I had lost 100 pounds.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, in that time I had done so much work on top of just switching to keto though. I started working on all of just like the mental health side of things, my self-worth, my self-esteem, like really focusing on self-love, the way that I was talking to myself, because so many times, like the way that we speak to ourselves is the most critical and judgmental things. I mean, the things that we say to ourselves when we look in the mirror,
right.
A lot of times we just tear ourselves down. And, there's always a focus of other people, like, oh, well, how are other people treating us? And, are there judgments? But ultimately, like, if you look at it, majority of the times we are our own worst critics. We're the ones making the worst judgments on ourselves. So I really had to work on that inner voice, and even sometimes just stopping myself in my tracks. If I'd be like, oh, you still look big, or I don't like this, or I had to stop and be like, no, like you are kind and you're compassionate, and I had to retrain the things that I was saying. So it was an involved process.
Oh, yeah. And that's one thing that I talk about to some of the groups that I speak with. And when I'm doing my empowerment coaching and my empowerment speaking, one thing that I have them do is write down their I ams. I'm huge on I ams. And
Yeah.
when you write down 3 I ams, and for those that are listening, this is a tip for you. You every Monday write down 3 I ams, something that you're struggling with. If it's confidence, if it's your weight, whatever it is, and you need to write it in real time. I am confident. I am worthy. I am at the weight that I want to be. I am beautiful. And when you write this and you look at it and you say it every single day, put it on your makeup mirror, somewhere where you're going to be every single day. And if you say it, it's amazing how your mind starts to transform into feeling that you're worthy and those things are actually real for you. Because I know that it is a mindset. And losing weight, you can help somebody all day long tell you you need to lose weight. And that's the wrong thing to say to me, because I'm completely bonkers on you. But because, telling somebody that's overweight, you need to lose weight is ridiculous, because you don't think that we know we need to lose weight. Like, we need you to remind us that we need to lose weight. No, I'm totally against that, because somebody has to be in the right mindset for them to even start. It doesn't matter what the lifestyle change is. And I know losing 125 pounds, you have to be in the mindset, because otherwise that's just not going to happen.
Totally.
It's not going to happen. So where did you come up with, because I'm going to tell you right now, I have to talk about your book, because it changed me January 1st. And I was telling you before the show that my husband and I wanted to start keto, and I really didn't know where to start. I found your book online. I had it shipped to my Florida house, and I just started taking pictures of your recipes, ordering my groceries, and I do not like to cook. Okay, so let's just put that out there right now. I don't like to cook, but your recipes are so easy that anybody can do it. I mean, literally, like, make that your sixth grader's chore. And then is that child abuse? I don't know, but make that your sixth grader's chore to cook a meal out of your book, because it's so simple. And it's good. I mean, who doesn't want to wake up and eat eggs and bacon? I mean,
thank you so much.
I'm completely on board. So tell us a little bit about your book and your recipes and the whole, maybe some of the science of keto. Like, because I know somebody thinks, oh my gosh, you want me to eat fat and lose weight? I'm not going to do it. So tell us a little bit about keto too.
Okay. Well, so to start, my book is called Simply Keto. And I was approached to write this book probably about, I guess, like 2.5 or 3 years after I had been keto. So I had lost 120 pounds and sustained all of it, and had been very vocal on social media about the experience, the ups, the downs, the emotional components. Like, that's really where my passion is like talking about the emotional components. Because I think keto can help a lot of people, but I will never say that it's for everyone or that you have to do this to change your life. I think that everybody has to find their own path of what works for them. And I'm so supportive of whatever lifestyle anyone chooses to do. But the common thread is the mindset. And so that's what I really love to talk about. But my goal in writing Simply Keto, it's funny because I almost didn't write the book, because I was like, who am I to write a book? Like, right. Like cooking is not something that I love to do. I never dreamed of writing like a cookbook or anything like that. But I knew that I couldn't keep up with the amount of messages that I was getting, so many emails, and I wanted to answer people back, but I just didn't have enough time. So I thought, okay, I can write Simply Keto, and I'll have all the resources and tools and information, like everything that I wish that I would have known when I started, all in one place. And then 100+ recipes that are easy, like home cook style, for somebody who maybe doesn't enjoy cooking, doesn't want a long list of ingredients or like 50 steps to make a recipe. Because for me, when I open a book and I see something like that, I'm like, nope, like on to the next one. I don't even care if it looks amazing. Like, I have no desire to be in the kitchen for hours. I'm a 5-year-old. I'm busy,
Exactly.
So I kind of just like practice exactly what you said, or with talk kind of, I started writing down kind of my intentions, and I would look in the mirror and say, like, you're capable and you can do this, and you have a passion for this. And this, whatever you will do, it will be enough. And because your heart's in the right place. So I started writing, and it was kind of like flowing through me. And so in the book, it basically is an intro into my story, my struggle with my weight, finding keto and losing 120 pounds. And then the next part of the book is all about keto. So what it is, how does it work? How can you test for it if you choose to? A list of food ingredients that you can eat and things that you should avoid, shopping list, eating keto on the go. It's like literally everything.
I love it.
And then, like I said, 100 plus recipes. So essentially what keto does, and the reason why I think that it's so amazing, is because it is a low carb, high fat, moderate protein. Now, being low carb means that you're staying away from things like sugar and flour and bread and pasta. And initially when somebody said that to me, I'm like, what did you just say? But the amazing part about it is there are so many recipes and so many things that you can make that are alternatives that have different ingredients, that still you can create these same dishes that you love, but just made with different ingredients. So it does become a new normal. So I will say, even if you're saying to yourself right now, I couldn't live without those things, I promise you, I was once in that spot, and I can, and I'm happy and thriving not having those foods. The reason why that's so important, and especially for emotional eaters, because a lot of us are emotional eaters, when you eat something that's high in carbs or sugar, basically it spikes your blood sugar, and then your pancreas has to release insulin to help bring everything down. And basically it kind of makes your body go on this roller coaster of constantly trying to stabilize your blood sugar. And in that time, you get sugar cravings, and you find yourself being kind of hungry and thinking about food, and kind of having appetite issues, which is, for me, I was always hungry. So when you cut that out and you eat higher fat, and we're talking about quality fat, so we're staying away from trans fats. The emphasis is definitely on like whole foods.
Yeah.
So when you do that, fat satisfies your appetite for a lot longer, and it doesn't mess around with your blood sugar levels. So you have a nice, even, peaceful state within your body, but then you have the satiety of the fat where you know, really keeps you feeling full and satisfied, and you don't feel like you're starving yourself all the time. I know a lot of different things that I tried before. I was hungry and angry all the time because I was just like, I felt sick. Like I just didn't ever feel satisfied with what I was eating. And keto is different in that way, that like you're still enjoying this delicious and flavorful and filling foods, but then you're kind of at an even playing field where you're not just chasing that sugar high all the time.
Right. Well, yeah. And when I was reading your book and I pulled out that list, until you actually see it, and, you know, as I'm reading your book and I'm looking at this, I'm like, hey, I could get a lot of stuff with this.
Yeah.
You know? And I'll tell you, today marks day 14 for me. So my son, my 18-year-old son, and his girlfriend cooked a whole batch of chocolate chip cookies last night. And normally I would have probably ate 6 of them, and I have no desire. Like they're literally still sitting in there, and I think I can pick them up and put them in a bag and I'll never touch it. I really don't have a desire to eat sugar.
Yeah.
And that kind of started yesterday or the day before. I've been kind of fighting it for 2 days, really just thinking, okay, if I just take a bite of chocolate or just take, you know, just something. And I really just don't care today. So I really hope this continues because, you know, without having the cravings, I feel that I can stick with it.
Totally. Yeah. And that's really what was a game changer for me, is I feel like it put me and my like past cravings and desires for food in a totally different place. So I still enjoyed food, but I wasn't like longing for it and like craving it. And like you, I mean, if I had a box of cookies before starting keto, I would have eaten the whole thing.
Yeah.
But the amazing and great thing is like you can make cookies with almond flour and stevia sweetened chocolate, and you can enjoy them still, but just with different ingredients. So that's where I feel like the maintainable balance comes in, of like, we don't have to say like you'll never eat a cookie again. It's just you're going to eat something with different ingredients. And same with there's lots of companies that have even chocolate that is sweetened with stevia instead of sugar. That is totally great if you just feel like you want some chocolate. So it's really just kind of like swapping the ingredients. It's the main thing. And it is really sustainable. And that to me is like the beautiful part is like, you can go out to dinner with your friends. You don't have to feel like you have to like count every single thing or not be able to enjoy your life. You just kind of modify things a little bit and that becomes your new normal.
Right. And that's one thing that I did do is I bought stevia in the liquid form in the bottle, and I carry one in my purse, and then I have one sitting, in the pantry. I have one sitting on the countertop, and my husband as well in Florida, like he has it right there and he carries it with him because I love unsweet tea. Well, I actually like sweet tea, but I order unsweet tea and I put my stevia in it and it's really great. Now, what is the difference between stevia or someone actually getting Splenda or Sweet and Low? Is there a downside to that?
Okay, so basically stevia is a natural form. It's the best one as far as it's not like manufactured. Things like Sweet and Low and stevia, they're all low carb, but there is some concerns about like the health effects that they can cause. So it is better to try to use natural sweeteners. So things like erythritol, or commonly, like in my book, it's Swerve. That's one of the main brands.
Right.
So erythritol and stevia are definitely the ones that I would stick to because they are natural. Stevia just comes from a leaf, and you can get that in a liquid form or powdered form. You always have to be a little bit more careful when you're looking at sweeteners in the powdered form because sometimes they'll like sneak in some different ingredients in there just to have it be powdered and to not clump together that maybe you don't want. But stevia and erythritol, and there's a list in Simply Keto of sweeteners that are recommended and not recommended. But honestly, I'm a big fan of progress, not perfection. So if somebody goes out to a restaurant and the only options that they have is like stevia or Sweet and Low, sorry, not stevia, but if they have like Splenda or Sweet and Low, like it is a win to use that over dumping a bunch of sugar in your iced tea.
Yeah.
So, I just think that we need to really let people know that you don't need to start at the top of like everything being grass-fed, organic, and natural. It's great if you can work your way towards that because we know that processed foods have a lot of not so great ingredients. But you got to make this a livable balance.
I know. I just can't tell you how excited I am to finally get to talk to you, to actually have your book and start your recipes and have you on Real Girl Talk sharing to my listeners is just a treat for me. I mean, this is really, truly a treat for me. Now, tell everyone where we can find you.
Okay, so I have a blog and that's ketokarma.com. It's KETOKARMA.com. And then on Instagram and Facebook and all social media, it's just at Keto Karma as well. And then my book, Simply Keto, is available on Amazon, also at Costco and Target, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, everywhere where books are sold, basically. But Amazon is generally the best price.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's where you can.
Who doesn't love Amazon? I mean, you can sit at your home. I think Amazon delivers to me every day. I don't know. That's probably an addiction thing that I've started with Amazon. But I did order the keto sticks, and I got that from your book. So I'm waiting for those to come in today so I actually can see, because I know you have to monitor that whether you have ketosis or not. And so I ordered those. We'll see how it goes, and I'll keep you posted on my weight loss journey. And I probably need to have someone hold me accountable, so you can hold me accountable.
Yeah, feel free to check in with me. One good thing for you to know is with the sticks, did you order the urine strips?
I did.
Okay. So those are only accurate about the first 2 to 3 weeks after being in ketosis. So,
so I've been doing this for 14 days.
Okay. Yeah. So what happens is once your body becomes keto adapted, your body gets a lot more efficient at utilizing ketones, so they won't spill into your urine as much. So the test can tell you that it's negative, but you're actually in ketosis. So don't let them. I actually don't recommend them. I recommend if you want to track, you can track with your blood. There's a monitor called Keto Mojo that's really good. And it's just like, it's a simple finger prick. I don't like needles or blood or anything like that. And it doesn't bother me at all. But it really is important to say that the first like 6 or 8 months that I did keto, I didn't track at all. I didn't check my blood. I didn't check my urine. I didn't want anything to kind of throw me off of like, I'm not doing good enough. I just put an emphasis on staying under 20 grams of carbs. I kept my head down, focused on what I was doing, and I did it. I didn't look for the confirmation of all these tests. So only do the testing if you want to geek out and see how things are affecting you, but it's not required.
Gotcha. Well, that's good information. I'm glad you told me that. Yeah. Well, okay, guys, you have to follow Suzanne Ryan at ketokarma.com, and you can find her on Instagram. Love this woman. I'm telling you, she's going to be the reason why I actually lose my 60 pounds.
You're going to do it. I know it.
It's going to happen. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. And guys, I want to remind you that I'm releasing my new book, Create Your Life. It's a 30-day devotional journal like no other. It's for women who want to empower themselves, step up in abundance, and build a beautiful life. And the pre-sales start Friday, February 15th. So make sure you go to sherryricard.com, join the mailing list with thousands of other women warriors if you want to be the first to know any updates. Thank you so much, Suzanne. You have a blessed day.
Thank you so much.